All right, welcome to another episode of the Coaches Show. I'm Cody Eastis, joined alongside Kelly Simon again tonight, and head coach Brent Holting. Now 4-3 after that big win against Nickerson Friday night at home at Zerger. Congrats on that win, Coach. And once again, I want to give a shout out to All Metal Recycling and Brad McDonald for sponsoring the remainder of these shows throughout the season. Let's get in to that Nickerson game before we take a look forward for the ball game this week, Friday night. That was, everybody's been talking about that one, but 52-0 here at home against Zerger. First shutout of the season, for second shutout since last year opening week against Larned, I believe. So always good to get a shutout. Let's start there. How does that feel to, get a shutout on the board and force Anthony Brown to cook some breakfast for the boys?
He did. He brought in a pile of breakfast burritos on Monday morning. And then, they were spoiled on Monday and my wife has started a tradition last year of always making monster cookies, victory monster cookies for film after school. So the kids got fed well on Monday.
Is that burrito thing? Is that the starting defense only, or the whole team?
Whole team.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you see back in our day.
Back in the day, it was just the starting defense.
Starting defense got the Coach Alley spaghetti dinner.
Yeah, he wasn't about to spring for 50 burritos.
No.
So.
No.
No, Coach Brown. I think he made like 80 of them or something like that. There were a bunch of them. He just cooked up a bunch.
That's fun. A couple stats of the night. Get into those. Max Uni again, the big night, 20 carries on the night, 220 yards, 4 touchdowns to add to his total. Tay Wilson in the end zone twice with 2 touchdowns, and freshman Kyler Barker also in the end zone for a touchdown. Speak a little bit about those performances and kind of what the offense was able to do.
Yeah, I thought we started out slow. We had some snap issues that we got to get cleaned up, and then some blocking issues. I thought they had a kid on the edge. It gave us a little bit of trouble. They were moving and doing some things, and it was good. It's good for our kids to see, but they were doing some unconventional things that, we just keep having to remind our kids, like, follow your path, do your job. There's a reason we have rules. Follow the rules. You don't have a guy, you have rules. And so I thought we got that cleaned up. We looked at beginning of the second half. We went out, it's always the value when I can look at a little film, or we can look at a little film and said, okay, this is how we need to block our sweep. And, we busted the first one for a 50-something yard touchdown, first play of the second half. So to me, that's more important. I like when we can make adjustments and our kids do what they're supposed to do and execute, and it works really well. But I thought, Max had another great game. I think Tay is just playing better and better every single week. Thought our line, for the most part, blocked really well. We want to get a little lower, get out a little more, but it was a good performance to see.
Go back to the start of that game. Heading into that game all day, we had 25 to 30 mile an hour winds with 50 mile an hour wind gusts. Calmed down a little bit as the game got underway, but as a head coach, just thinking like initial coin toss kickoff, does the wind on a night like that play a factor in any of your decision making on plays you can run, maybe, or how you want to handle winning the coin toss or deferring, or what type of factor is that on a really windy night like that?
We took the ball because we knew that they, if we defer, they're going to take the ball, and we knew that they like to throw a lot more. We like to run a lot more. So our thought was, we want to get a good start, but we take the ball and we're going to go against the wind, but knowing that that's not as big a deal to us because we don't want to throw much. We want to run the ball. We want to establish ourselves at the line of scrimmage. And even worst case scenario, the thought process is we take most of the first quarter, whatever, on a drive, then they don't get the wind as much. They're going to have to throw against the wind when they get possession, and that's what we wanted. So, that's why we took the ball on Friday night.
A couple big hits on Friday night too. There have been some games that the hit stick hasn't been handed out. I think Friday night you guys made up for those early on. That Tay had one on the far sideline that I saw. Colin had one, and then to cap it off, Brock Bourgeois. With a monster hit.
Yeah.
I've got some sideline footage of that, and that ball came out. That was a fumble.
Immediately.
They ruled it down, though, I think just because of the sheer impact.
Yeah, I think he wasn't even looking at that. I think he was wondering, is that kid going to be okay?
And thankfully he was.
Yeah, he was. Well, he stumbled a little bit going off on the sideline. But Noah had a big hit. I think Trace Melhorn, Gavin. I told the kids that tonight, actually, after practice when we handed out awards. I said, the nice thing about this week is we actually had to talk about. Now, it wasn't a long discussion because Brock's hit was
Yeah,
it was pretty
that's a mic
spectacular.
drop type of hit,
Right,
you know.
right. But we at least had some kid like, man, that kid would have got. We had 4 or 5 hits that would have been hit stick any other week, and so that was really good to see. That was probably my the thing I was most pleased with in the game, and that's what I told the kids tonight. I said that's a confidence thing. We thought we could do it against Nickerson, and we felt confident against them, so we came out and played like it. And I said that's got to carry over no matter the opponent, because hitting is something that can carry over every week. We can hit like that. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Andale, Genie. I don't care who it is. You can always hit people. You can always bring physicality, because it's a confidence thing to me. And I thought our kids played more confident, and hopefully that's a springboard for them to play more confidently the rest of the season as we go and bring that physical nature every week.
Yeah, more on the back on the kind of the offensive side of the ball or special team side of the ball. Owen Schmidt, I thought, had a huge night. Also had some huge plays, just not able to find his way into the end zone. Set up a couple nice assists for Max, but man, those were all started from the big. I don't know if that was a sweep or Owen around the end
Counter,
and finding the sideline, and then the punt return that I thought I don't think anybody in the stadium thought he was going to field that ball. It took a short hop, and he caught that on a full sprint, and then it was off to the races.
Yeah. Poor Owen. He got caught at the 1 and 2 yard line. He said the ref even heard him just scream no on the last one, because they always tease him like, you're not quite fast enough to, and he's like, gosh dang it. No, Owen, I think his confidence has been growing every week, and he's playing better and better and better. That ball that he grabbed there, he wouldn't have done that 3 weeks ago. So that was good to see for me. The run, I thought he made a nice, hard, physical, decisive run. Had a couple stiff arms in there. So that's great. It gives us another weapon. And obviously, anytime you can do that on special teams, it flips the field. Now, that being said, I thought our special teams player of the night was Trace Melhorn. He had an incredible night. If you watch all our kickoff coverage and our punt coverage, he was the first guy down there every single time. Made some big hits, made some big tackles on kickoffs, so he got it. But Owen obviously also had a great night.
I thought, speaking of kickoffs, I thought Orozco had a really good night too, kicking the ball, really placing it inside the hash and the sideline, on about every kickoff, maybe except for the last one, which was still close to it. But a good night from Orozco to really, when you can force them to one side of the field and not let them choose which way they want to go, really makes an impact on special teams.
For sure. It helps us fill alleys a lot easier when they're pinned against the sideline. That we was talking about, that sideline's an extra defender. Right. So it's there. You can push him out to it. Andy's a kid who works extremely hard at kicking. He works every practice. That's what he does. And he's just getting better and better. His legs getting stronger and stronger. Really proud of him and the things he's done for us this year.
As we get into this Andale week, top off on some, and then we'll bring Kelly in here. Kelly, proved that he was more of a football fan than a Greenback fan last week by scouting.
Yeah.
It was a scout.
For
With quotations.
Only listening, the scouts in air quotes
blacklisted.
here.
We tried to get Seth again, but he was not
Hey,
visible. He's busy.
Speaking of that, shout out to Seth Tebow for filling in Friday
he did a great
night.
job.
He did a great job, and I think he had some fun. So
Great.
Kelly on
Good
the
for
hot
Seth.
seat.
Good for Seth.
No, but so you come off 2 big wins, Smoky Valley, Nickerson, and now it's the matchup that's been on the schedule all year long that you've got to get through. You don't have to get through, but still going to play after that. But that Andale matchup, how do you come off 2 opponents that struggled a little bit more this season and then carry that mindset of, okay, boys, we got to reset. It's Andale coming up this week.
Well, our kids know Andale. I mean, there's no secret. Even them getting beat last week, they're still the standard bearer. I mean, they're still the best program in the state, 1A through 6A. They're what you aspire to be week in and week out, how Coach Schmidt prepares his kids, how hard they play, everything they do schematically. You're in for the fight of your life when you play them. And like I told the kids tonight, they play so dang hard. That's what's so impressive. They don't get complacent with success. They play so dang hard, and that's their coaching staff does a fantastic job of getting those young men in that program to play their rears off every play. That if you take one play off, they're going to take advantage of it. There's no doubt about it, because they don't take plays off. So they make you match their physicality, they make you match their intensity, effort, and then on top of it all off, they got some really talented kids. So it's a tough matchup for sure.
I skipped ahead a bit there to Andale. We'll get to you in just a sec, Kel. I want to hear your awards for the week and for the game. Like I said, ours was Brock Bourgeois. He got our
Yep.
Mead Lumber hit stick of the ball game, and then we gave our player of the game to Owen Schmidt just on those two big plays. But curious, the ones you hand out, who was the recipients of those awards?
Yeah, and you talk about we didn't really get, we went to an offensive and defensive, but Owen definitely would have, he made an impact in so many ways. Special teams, interception on defense, big run on offense. I thought Owen just had a fantastic game. Like I said, he's a kid that's an absolute great kid, works his tail off. I mean, the hardest workers we have, if not the hardest worker on the team, works his tail off every day. So really proud of him and how far he has came and what we ask him to do. So hit stick was obviously Brock. Special teams was Trace Melhorn. Offensive player of the week. I thought Max had a great game.
Yeah, you can't argue with 220 on the ground and
right.
4 touchdowns.
It's hard. We could give it to Max a lot of weeks. Of course, he's the focal point of the offense, but knowing that, and everyone knows that, Max continues to carry the load, especially at not less than 100%. And then defensively, we really couldn't decide. I thought Owen and Tay Wilson had absolutely fantastic games. And I can't talk enough. I told you already about Owen, and Tay is just offensively, defensively, and then Tay's leadership. Tay is just improving every week in confidence. The way he leads, the way he approaches practice. He's had just amazing practices lately. He's really, really coming into his own as a football player as a whole. I mean, the talent's always been there. Obviously, we know Tay's a super talented kid, but the confidence and the leadership and just the way he's playing are getting better and better every week, and it's awesome to see.
Scout team player of the week?
Scout team player of the week, Yasir Gonzalez.
Oh, great.
Yasir, it's not fun to be the scout team tailback. And Yasir, he gets back there a lot. He's, he may be the fastest kid on the team, even as a freshman. And he takes a licking and keeps on ticking. He gets up, never complains, plays his butt off. Never have to ask Yasir to go in. He always volunteers to go in. So he's going to be a really good football player for us once he figures it all out. But Yasir's doing a good job.
You mentioned Tay Wilson on the defensive side of things, and I won't show up in the box scores, but he had a great pickup on. Nickerson was split out, I think 2x2 with quads.
Huge.
Running back coming out of the
down,
backfield there on that 4th down, and Tay doing a great job of picking
Carrying
that back up out of the backfield and just hip by hip and able to bat that ball down. And one of those ones that goes
like
unnoticed
said,
a lot, but man, it was like if Tay hadn't played that right, that goes for a first down and probably more.
And that's a tough when you scheme that up. When you pull your safeties out with corners or whatever, and have hitches with your outside guys, and then run that guy up the middle. That's a tough cover, and your backer's got to see it and pick it up. And Tay did a great job of that, like you said.
Yeah. All right, on to Andale. Big matchup this week. Last season played them twice, probably, hopefully, maybe. See, we'll play them twice again this season. You never know how it shakes out. But 14-42 last year in the regular season, and then met up with them in the playoffs again, where the Greenbacks fell 6-45 at Andale in that matchup. Kelly, a little rundown on the history of Andale, if you would.
Yes, did a little research, and best I could come up with was 9 meetings. 9 meetings.
This one is heavily swayed in one.
You'll find that a lot with Andale's history with people. It's 8-1, 8 to the Andale, 1 to us, but there's been several in that total that were darn close. I mean, we had a couple there's been a couple that were not as close, but have met 4 times in the Kansas State playoffs. I can do this here. We did last year in the second round. And then we met in the 2003 playoffs. We lost 19-14 at Andale. I think it was in the bi-district round.
See, I don't remember that one.
Well, we were in college then, so that was when we weren't paying a lot of attention
to Greenback
football, and that was really before the internet was big.
Right.
and then the one you'll remember well, Cody, 1997. You and I were on that team. We played over at Andale in the regional game, 37-34.
I've heard lots about this game.
We drive that we.
In fact, I think Coach did. I think maybe Coach Schmidt
was in
played on that.
Been a sophomore.
I think he's talked about that. Yeah.
That game was 34-34. Andale had the ball down inside our 10-yard line with almost no time left, and they fumbled the darn ball. And for the life of me, it's on the highlight film. How they recovered it, I have no idea. There was like 5 Pratt guys and 1 Andale guy, and he got back on top of that ball. They kicked a field goal. Went up 37-34. We drove the length of the field, 80 yards. They had a big kickoff in minute and a half. We got down to the 1.5-yard line.
Oh, man.
1.5-yard line, and we had the field goal team on the field, didn't we?
Coach Anderson called a timeout.
Timeout
and basically
and said,
came out
"Hey, do
there
you
and
guys wanna go
asked
for
the
it?"
seniors, said, this is your guys' season. What do you guys want to do? And they said, let's go for
let's
it.
do it. And we'd run a counter pass a lot that night, and it was been very effective. And we ran it, and it just kind of didn't materialize. And Reiner rolled right, and he kind of looked and looked and looked, and he threw it across his body, and our receiver just off his fingertips.
Oh man!
And
yeah, instant
one of those that
classic.
sticks with
it
you.
was
Yeah.
it was one that you still talk to people around here, and who knows, probably in Andale too. That's one that you didn't mention the 2018 matchup. Between,
I was getting there.
Oh, gotcha.
I was getting
you
there.
were going in
I was going
historical.
reverse. Actually, I
Gotcha.
did skip around a little bit. I went to 03 first, but I have no
that's
rhyme or
okay.
reason to what I do. But yeah, that 97 game when it finished, the last play is actually on our highlight film, and when the ball falls incomplete, the entire Andale stand swarmed the whole field. That was before the days of stay off the field till it's over. I mean, the whole thing just erupted in Andale people. Anyways, and that was hard to swallow because the next week they lost a 1 touchdown game to the state champ the next week, Sabetha. So it was pretty touch and go. But then in 18, the last time Andale was defeated prior to last Friday night, Zerger Field, Pratt Andale, both 10-0. Travis Tice is our running back, along with a lot of other good players on that team. Great seesaw battle back and forth that Andale has the early lead in, it looked like, and then Pratt kind of battled back, and then at the end, Andale scores, goes for a 2-point conversion to send it into overtime. They'd missed a conversion, so it was 19-21. They go for 2
because they had missed an extra point earlier.
That's right. So they had to go for 2 to tie it, and didn't get it. And then Pratt goes on to the state title game, last loss prior to Cheney.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah,
some great
impressive
games.
history to say the least about that.
I tell you what, there's
Andale
been some good
program.
ones.
Coach
Yeah,
Schmidt,
it's- I mean,
80-3, 3 losses, 80 wins.
just
on his
amazing,
record.
mind-numbing
Yeah,
to think about how successful he's been, and Coach O'Hara got it started before that, and then obviously Coach Schmidt's taken it up to another level. And the to me the impressive thing about that is to do that, the amount of community buy-in and kid buy-in
Keep
and
it
stuff,
going.
and that's truly impressive as a coach. It's awesome. I mean, impressive to see. You tip your hat to him, and it's what you aspire to be.
You know, it's not 100% guaranteed. I'm pretty sure I found it on K Preps, and then I went back and looked and through Max Preps and that. 2012, last time Andale lost a game on their home field.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
10 years.
I believe that's correct. I know it's the longest winning streak in Kansas.
Their
Obviously,
home.
they had the longest one in the nation.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
the
one
home field
streak
one
is still active.
right, and that's the home field streak. Yeah,
10 years.
That's just as impressive as their 57.
crazy impressive.
The seniors
impressive.
on that team were third graders ish, give or take a year. Was last time Andale lost a home football game.
It's pretty wild. First graders maybe, right? 2012 to 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you went over to that game last week, Kelly. The Andale Cheney game,
Yes.
which was the game of the week in the state. Lots of fanfare with it, and rightfully so. Boy, and it lived up to the hype. So before we get to Britt and his opinion on the matchup, we've seen him on film past couple years on tape. What did you, after coming away from that ball game, overall thoughts on that game and kind of how it will look for the Greenbacks or play out for the Greenbacks heading in this week?
As you said, great game, two great teams. We've already seen Cheney here at home in week 3 or 4 there. And I echo what Coach said earlier. It was kind of, Andale took a loss, and so everybody kind of has that feeling of, oh, they're beatable. It's like, well, they did take a loss, but it took an amazing team,
Tremendous effort,
a huge comeback, and an overtime to beat them. So, I mean, they are still quite a challenge. But, Andale does what they do. They hustle up to the line. They fire off. They're not overly big. Again, he said that, but they play so darn hard. They run hard. They tackle hard. Everything about them is just a heck of a tough football team. And I think Pratt with their running game, we run as good as anybody, and it's going to be quite. To me, that's the biggest matchup of the game. There's a lot of them, but can the Pratt offense sustain drives and chunk out yardage against that Andale defense that's been so tough for years?
Yeah.
Is there, as a head coach, Brent, is there a different mindset when you play Andale in the regular season versus when you face them in the playoffs as far as preparing for them or the message to the team? Or is it just it's still Andale, any given week doesn't matter? Or is there a bit of a different mindset going into
I think it's one of those, you have to play your best, for sure. For sure. What Kelly said, you have to sustain drives. If you go 3 and outs, it's going to get ugly quick. You can't turn the ball over. Can't have penalties. It's hard. I think you want to maintain your normal play calling. There's some stuff that you just know that you may want to call. It's worked in the past that just won't work against them because of how they do things and what they do and how hard they play and some stuff. You may in their discipline. So hey, we can get this team. When you watch film, a lot of times, hey, we can do this, and what they don't do that. You don't get them like that because they're so disciplined and they're so fast. And they run the ball so well and they get off the ball so well. So I think maybe, look at the playoffs last year. We knew, we thought we played them as tough as anybody the first time we played them last year. And I thought our kids gave a heck of an effort that game. So we knew the second time we played them, we were going to have to take some chances to win. And, that's the hard part. It's either you take chances like we did. We had a couple, the first drive of the game, we missed Jair on an open out. They would have sustained a drive. They come back and score. So either you go for it and take some chances and try to put yourself in the game. But when you do that, also, the snowball can get rolling like it did last year, real fast downhill, and you can get your butt kicked real quick too. So it's kind of one of those, how do you play it? Do you want to play it close to the vest, kick it off, try to make them earn their drives, or take some chances on offensive when you have to and try to stay in the game. But then that can lead to getting your tail kicked too sometimes because they're just an incredible football team.
Yeah, we know. We've seen it in the past. We've seen it for the past 5 years. And like I said, the tenure of head coach Dylan Schmidt, an impressive run. And you've got to go through Andale if you want to make it deep into the postseason every year. And that test will start Friday night for the Greenbacks. So kickoff will be at 7 o'clock over there in Andale. This is a road game for the Greenbacks. So get over there, the short drive over there to Andale, an easy trip for Greenback fans if you can make your way out there. If you can't, tune in to My Country 98.3 on the app or on the radio. That's where you can find us. We'll probably be streaming in some other places as well. Kelly, you got anything as we wrap things up here?
One big streak ended last Friday night. We'll see if we can end another one, huh?
We'll give it our shot. Give it our best shot. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, good luck this Friday night, Coach. We'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
All right.